Da, 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 na, 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 na. This thing. Alright, let's go ahead and get started and make this a quickie video, huh? Spoiler alert, it's not a quickie video. But here's the unboxing of it. You know, using a scalpel to open it all up, take a quick look at the instructions. The instructions are a thing I love about Revell kits. They're so simple, easy to follow. It's good because I'm a simpleton, so it's easy for me to understand. I'm not going to be following their color scheme, though. And for veterans of the channel, yeah, this is going to be pretty heavily edited. Not quite what you're used to, but I'm still going to try to show you everything, as you're going to see in the next clip that's after I've opened all this. And hold on. Okay. Okay, hold on. I gotta zoom this camera in here. Primitive zoom function, hooray! What it says, if the camera can't catch it, is copyright 1964. Made in China. Well, I mean...
Made in China?
Yep. I remember a movie, Jay, that kind of covers this idea fairly well. American components, Russian components, all made in Taiwan. And because I just referred to it as a country, I probably failed my social credit test. I delve too much into political humor, even though. Alright, so here I am, I'm preparing the molded pieces a bit, pulling some off the sprues, removing mold flash as needed, and of course the requisite hemming and hawing when I see something and, you know, want to work through it. So editing's going to be a bit different here. Unfortunately, I'm done voicing this section over, so you'll get to it in the next section. So, see this thin stuff coming off of them at random points, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is mold flash. Mold flash is horrible.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Trust me. It is the reason I hate Revell kits so much. Oh, alright. So you'll see this little video section in a corner of the screen, and then the rest of the video big. I figured show a bit of what I'm doing if it's a lengthy or repetitive task. It gives you the gist of what I'm doing on the main screen. And then time-lapse the entire thing into one of those little corners. Now, you'll see me later in this, you know, tweak editing a little further. Sorry for the nose blowing, a cold. And that will be about, yeah, that will be me just switching camera angles or what have you later on too. As well as, you know, moving from part to part. But as you can see, mold flash is a royal pain with these Revell kits. I'm just taking my time, trying to do it right, and I think we've hit the clip where Jay disagrees with me on how horrible mold flash is, but, you know, he's got a right to an opinion. So there you go. As you can see, there I am in the lower corner of the screen, already having had, you know, corrected all the mold flash issues. So yeah, a lot, again, very carefully running the scalpel along, either scraping backwards or actually cutting off the flash. Cutting off here, but if it's just that thin line stuff, that's when I run the thing backward. You'll see me cutting towards myself a lot. I know the safety advice is cut away, don't lop your limbs off. Well, one, it's funny if it happens on this side of the screen, and two, I feel I have more control, especially considering little hands are introducing themselves and want to play with the little things that Daddy is making. Yeah, so that's Seth there. She likes to sit on my lap and watch while I do these things. She cute. What can I say? Kids are cute. And there I go, looking at the guy here. And then I think I go and I take care of Seth while, yeah, now the kid's gone, ... I get back to trying to glue things down and glue things in place. So, yep, there we go. And you'll see me in the lower screen cutting out pieces as needed. There's that base bit there, and then you'll see me in the lower corner screen. Oh, I do cut out a few more things. Goody, goody. Probably important, but I'm not going to quite No, do I glue the guy in? I might glue the guy in at this stage. I don't think I do though. I think I just dry fit him to see if he fits in nicely. You know, make sure I've removed enough of the mold flash around where he's supposed to be fitting together, and then pressing things together, making sure it's all fitting. Meanwhile, in the lower corner, all the more mold flash removal, make sure everything really does fit, that things are going to go good together. Blowing my nose during the voiceover because I have a cold. So yeah, anyways. And then just a bunch of fiddling with the tiny pieces and trying to fit all the bits together. And eventually I do succeed. I get it so it kind of stays in a position while I glue it, and then it actually stays where it's supposed to stay while I'm gluing it, so it'll actually hold together when I put it all onto the, you know, cockpit bottom and make it one solid unit. There we go. Yep, putting on. So there we go. Using the Tamiya brush. Again, I use the Tamiya brush with the general plastic solvent. It works for both the Tamiya, but there's also the stuff from Micro Mark you can get. Yeah, no, I'm not simping for them. It's just that they're a vendor I use a lot. If you have your own vendor that gives a good, you know, solvent-based adhesives, go with that. I recommend solvent-based though on plastic when you can, because it actually melts the pieces together versus super glue just kind of sticks and sticks poorly.
Okay, buddy, you get to help me make a decision on camera. I don't know about you, but just this doesn't look like enough of a cockpit to be a cockpit. Like, it feels like there's supposed to be a lot more detail here. But I'll let you decide. Do we just do the model, or do we have standards here?
Standards.
Good boy. I would just like to take this time to send my condolences to the good people of California. Okay, that was a bit dickish of me. Seriously, though, I heard some guys once... Jay, you can chime in if you don't want to tell this whole story to the camera. But, see, I'm still building, buddy. But, so I was going through, you know, Walmart, getting just some things for a little project. I think it was like maybe something like enhancing my, my little computer stand, right? And I hear two guys talking, and one of the guys goes, "Yeah, this is the stuff you want here. You see that, you know, California Proposition 65 thing, or you know, you see this? It says causes a cancer in California. That's the good stuff right there."
Another funny story about Prop 65 is apparently like fish restaurants or something have to show that they're because of the mercury that naturally occurs in the seafood. They have to show Prop 65 warning on seafood restaurants. Sorry, lots of gunkiness up in my nostrils. I'd make some jokes, but yeah, the current the bug going around, the nasty one that's been going around and locking countries down, is not really a joking matter. I don't think. This is where I'd parrot the CDC, you know. But that's not what this channel's about. So I'm cutting off little nibs and stuff in various places. Not only this cockpit, but you'll see me cut it off in other things too. So, yep, here we go. Dry fit in the cockpit in the upper corner, which is part of what I'm doing here. I'm cutting these free. What I do is I use the sprue cutters to cut a piece of the model free from the sprue. It's quick, it's easy. But then I'll use the scalpel to go and remove mold flash as as required. And that's about how I go and do that. I may or may not use varying grades of sandpaper if needed, if I need to make something really smooth. But I'll typically rely more on the, well, it depends on where, but I'll usually rely more on the you know, surface finishers to do that. The, you know, Mr. Surfacer 1000 is what I tend to use. I'm sure there's, you know, the different grits have different purposes. I just haven't used them for different purposes as of yet, so, you know. But there we go. Dry fitting it in, making sure it all works. And then realizing the cockpit isn't so poorly detailed. Of course, sorry. I only realized that after the fact, after one, I guess I'm sanding some things down further to better fit, but two, I realized it wasn't so bad afterwards because I actually looked at some pictures of the cockpit on this thing, and it was actually really sparse. Not a lot of stuff to detail there, except for the instrument panel.
They had really different definitions of detailed back when they made this kit.
What can I say? Got to show that cutting. Got to get that, what is it they call it, ASMR in there. So yeah, now you see me just kind of dry fitting this exhaust piece out and then trying to cut this to size internally. I forget to do it on the other side, and it leads to some assembly hilarity later. Wishing I remembered. Meh, oh well. Maybe next time I'll do it right.
Forgive me, YouTube, for I have sinned. Again, this is more of an experimental, you know, try different way of editing and doing things and see how y'all like it. But went to a buddy's house a little bit, just as, you know, as one does. Added a couple of details. Let's see, this thing hopefully makes a nice appearance for you. So yeah, I drilled out all these dials and added this these kind of buttons and stuff just to amplify the amount of stuff that goes into the cockpit. And then before I, before I really, put the cockpit together, I'm going to have to, paint this guy up and everything. Oh, man, it's like, this right here kind of gets to me. It's like, I get that this thing came out in the friggin' 60s. But I mean, come on, guys, some pride in your work. Okay, it's probably the best they could do back in, whatever they made, this 1960, oh god, that's a long time ago. Hold on, no. It's on the mold itself. You see, you get this. You get the legalese here. Why couldn't you get, I don't know, properly rounded pilot features? Okay, I'm probably being a bit mean here. Okay, let's, oh cool, that's like a serial number. Yeah, this is the serial number of the kit that I will be vandalizing. How will I be vandalizing it? Well, fun fact, if I haven't mentioned it already in this vid, is that, so the Soviet Union had a couple of these. Oh. Yeah, this is coming off. This is coming off. That is coming off the People's Plane.
So yeah, as I didn't get to mention before, so there was a program during the World War II, as I take mold flash off these exhaust manifold bits here, and it was called Lend-Lease. I'm not sure what the exact details were, but the idea was that the U.S. would lend war materiel to allied countries like Great Britain, or because it was World War II, the Soviet Union. So they actually got some shipments of P-40 Warhawks to, go mangle the Japanese with. So, yeah, American plane in Russia is not historical revisionism. It is, in fact, quite accurate. Now, if I wanted to be all mean and, quote-unquote, anti-patriotic, I'd say, the historical revisionism is that they actually flew. Okay, that's a bit mean. But as you see here, I'm just test firing my little airbrush here before spraying the interior with some primer. Not all of it, but where the cockpit's going to be. And then you'll see me in the little time-lapse section spraying the outsides as well as needed, taking off some excess bits on the fuselage. So you see that there where I've already gone at it with the sandpaper, with the scalpel, getting rid of stuff that's not supposed to be there. Really ejector pin marks. So when these molds are, come apart, there's these little pins in some parts of it that shove the piece of not quite melted or not quite solid plastic out of the mold, and then will leave these circular marks in the part. So as you can see down here in the main screen is my normal time of priming this with the first layer, and up in the top corner of the screen, well, lots and lots of yeah, and now you see me doing other stuff, and again, just yeah, doing it in the lower screen too, where I'm putting some things together. It took a bit to assemble everything, or reassemble everything, because this decided to throw a fit. And after I get it reassembled, I again go and prime that lower bit there, as you see here. So here's where I start being a bit more deliberate with the editing. So I heard, and I've seen it myself, that people's brains like to stick to things that kind of jump around and change a bit. You don't want it to last too long. So about every 20 seconds, sometimes 30 seconds, you're going to see a jump where the square that has the time-lapse section on the screen moves, and the thing that is actually being done also changes. So again, my general rule is the individual step that I'm doing is still shown, but you get a lot of it in time-lapse too. So you get some slow motion, you get some time-lapse. I figured this was a good compromise, filling out my intent to show the whole process while sparing you the hours and hours of footage that this was. I guess we could say I already spared you quite a bit because I built that instrument panel, at a friend's house and forgot to film it because ding dong. But yeah, it happens. Here we go. The guy is special because the guy is going to be the main thing I paint in this video. He's going to take a large portion of the painting time because you're going to see me actually go through it, painting him layer by layer, essentially with a brush. And you're all probably, some of you may be wondering, why don't you just use the brush? What's with this gray stuff? What purpose does it serve? So the primer, and by the way, I maybe should have mentioned this. Maybe next time I'll put like a little, thing of parameters in a screen corner or something. But I use about 50-50 primer thinner mix, and I go at about 12 psi. You'll see, and that's both to paint to primer and surfacer to primer. But the surfacer, what it does is it'll latch onto chemically to the surface better than the paint will, and it provides something that the paint can kind of grip into. As you see here, this paint goes a lot better into the surface now that it's primed. Same for if I was going to brush it on, it would cover a lot better. It would also allow me to thin my paints and actually have them show up on the plastic and be able to be controllable. That's also really important because thin your paints. I drilled this into Jacob unintentionally so much that the stuff that he paints looks watercolor, like he just used watercolors now, because he uses he really does take art to thin them, which is good because then you can hide the brush strokes. It takes a hell of a lot of layers to do, but I don't need to be quick. This is my hobby. Unless people want to start paying me to do this, which could be fun, but yeah, a guy can dream, and I have better ways to extract money from people. Okay, I apologize, but let's face it, we live in a world where you have to monetize your hobbies just to have that, side hustle and backup plan. Okay, must pull away from sad political commentary and focus on the chrome paint going on the exhaust manifold. That I'm not going to glue it with the airbrush or anything, but I might add details later. We'll see.
All right. So if the lore of this little model is going to be, hey, the Soviet Union, got this one in Lend-Lease and had some fun with it. So I guess it better, make it look like a Soviet Union. To pilot uniform. Thank you, Google. Okay, let's see.
And then I go looking through Google and find some colors, but it essentially boils to what I'm painting him now. So as you see, I start with a green. I think that was his pants. Oh no, but it was his coat. Okay, I guess brown was his pants. So you'll see it's a thin layer, and this is the I'm not sure which Citadel one it is. It might be lower-end Forest or something. I don't have them all out in front of me. Again, as my channel progresses, I'll get better at both, you know, model making, but as well as, you know, detailing what exactly I did. Although, if we want to do more videos like this, I might have to further extend the deadlines out, just because the editing did take quite a while for this. That's why it's a couple days late. Sorry about that. I was hoping to do this all as a one-shot. But anyways, as you can see, I mixed my paints up nice and thin in my palette with a foil over it, and then my hair gets in the way, so we don't quite get a great picture of what I'm doing. I do have some plans that will help to resolve this head getting in the way problem, but that has to tie in with something else. So as I said before, I plan on this being like a one-shot deal, just a quick silly model to, you know, test new editing things out. And then I did some of the editing tricks on the Lexington Part 14 video, and y'all liked that. I'm talking about the video taking of this channel as I'm, you know, painting this guy up with the various acrylic paints and layers. So sometimes I'll do multiple thin layers of paint, and the idea is I don't like brush strokes. I hate them. They drive me crazy. Is when I see brush strokes, I'm like, oh God, you need help, sir, or madam, or whatever. But yeah, so I try to avoid things that'll show obvious brush strokes, like thicker paint. And then, but anyways, back to the other thing, other than the model going on the screen. So, yeah, I'm gonna be moving. And it's going to take place fairly soon. So I will try to get the next video out before the end of the year, but it might be like a New Year's thing at quickest. It'll not, actually no, I'll probably be able to do some more videos of the footage I have that's edited, but it will still take a bit of time to start getting totally new content again, or back up to the Lexington, because I gotta get a new shop set up. Marvelous. So as you see here, I use different size brushes, you know, thinner tips and smaller things for smaller details, so on and so forth. And then I just I layer up as appropriate. So this brown combination, it may have a tint of white added to it as well, I'll use on things like the face or the hands to, you know, get that base coat for those. And again, unfortunately, getting my hair in the way. I really need to learn to get my hair out of the way. Well, there we go, something a little better. And yep. Again, there we go. Now I'm painting the brown for the stripes. And yeah, so these are little 20-second bits of each step I took. But as you're going to see, this video is 29 minutes 25 seconds long, and you can imagine pretty quickly this took a lot longer. This guy took a couple hours to do, I think. I mean, at least one, if not more. So, well, let's see. Hold on, the average like 5. Give or take. So it's yeah, it took about an hour to do them, which is not bad at all. It's not like, you know, spending 10 hours to do it, but at that point, like, what am I trying to do? Yeah, not only that, but are there details on this model that are even, you know, worth putting that kind of effort in to make pop and stand out? Yep, again, darker boots. I think these are, I might have gone with a black for these. Maybe a dark brown. And as you can see, I'm just doing, moving away from the guy for a moment before really adding some final details to do some base coatings of the cockpit parts themselves. Namely the brown on the seat there. I think that's Citadel's, what is it, Mornfang brown or something? A really dark brown that they've got. And after doing that, I went ahead and, so that's a silver, I'm going to be applying it to the pedals and to the sticks and stuff. And I actually missed the petals a little bit, so I have to correct that later on the cockpit floor by painting layers of green over that silver, so kind of make use of an off-colored tint. See, there you go. You see the excess bits of silver. So now I go ahead and grab some greens and go ahead and make that actually work out sort of okay. I know, I didn't really mix the paint up in the bottle very much, but that happens. So as you can see, I still use a palette, to mix the paints in. It does prove convenient. You also notice though that I don't always mix inside the wells. I use those as suggestions. Yeah. They're paint suggestions, not paint wells or something like that. I don't know. It sounded better in my head. So there we go. Paint, paint, paint. You'll see I start covering bits of the where the sticks are, and same with really like where like the place things the pilot held were. This includes adding a red ball on the top of that. I think it was the flaps lever or something. Apparently, though, first I'm just doing some final detailings of those pedals. So yeah, now this is going to be, I think, the I think this will be the ball of the of that flaps lever, and then I'll paint it over red with another layer. That way, you don't paint red directly onto the primer. You paint it over something else, because that's what's going to make it really pop and stand out. Because the red paints are so very often they have terrible opacity. They're like closer to washes. Really, you have to get creative if you want to make them stand out. And bright underlayers help with that quite a bit. As you can see, here I go. I put my my fighter pilot in his chair, and then I go ahead and I start adding the little details, like for his goggles, adding the dark brown or the black for the glass. One of the last things I do is actually the little like white highlights at the very top to make it look like it's shining, plastic and whatnot. And here we go again with the. Not sure if this is a thinned out ink wash. I think that this seems to be. And I go ahead and I get into the crevices of his pants, jacket too with a darker green later, and then I'll dry brush on the highlights. So as you can see, here's the dry brushing first on the pants and then on other things. I like dry brushing on fabric pieces because it really makes it look like fabric to me. It helps to add that little bit of realism, and then I got the red. I think this is for this is oil paints, and I make it pink because human flesh tone is not just this kind of light, brownish tan. It's actually going to have some red notes and pink notes. So I use oil paints because I can better blend with them. And I try to kind of blend where cheeks and things are going to go. The same for the raised details on the fingers. And, we're rapidly approaching that point. I guess I got a little bit more to go before I have to, do the YouTube dance. As you can see, I'm adding some final touches, looking at the thing close up, and a lot of hemming and hawing in the normal speed bit there. But now I'm going ahead and adding some of those final bits of detail. Guess I've wanted to add some dark areas, and then here we go. Now I'm going to add some some eyes to this guy, like pupils. Yep, and that actually looks pretty good. All right, so here he is. And until next week, and must add that white highlights. I'm going to do the dance. Kind of dance without the dance. So like, share, subscribe, hooray, and peace out for now.